Cuba legalizes same-sex marriage and adoption after referendum.
Here's a summary of the article.
Cubans voted in a landmark referendum on Sunday, the 25th of September, to decide whether to legalize same-sex marriage and adoption, allow surrogate pregnancies, and give better rights to non-biological parents. Almost 6 million Cubans voted in the referendum, according to electoral officials. Over 8 million Cubans over the age of 16 were eligible to vote yes or no for the proposal, which is supported by the communist government but criticized by Catholic and evangelical church leaders, reported DW News. The final week of campaigning saw the government flood TV, radio and social media with pro-equality messages, along with glitzy billboards, public rallies and tweets from President Miguel Díaz-Canel urging Cubans to vote yes in favor of democracy, as reported. Cubans vote in referendum on same-sex marriage, adoption. In 2019, the government sought to include same-sex marriage in the country's new constitution but backed down after criticism from the church. Political scientist Rafael Hernandez said the referendum on same-sex marriage is the most important human rights legislation in Cuba since the 1959 revolution.
This post received a score of 31,000, with an upvote ratio of 93%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Cuba has become the 34th country in the world and the 9th Latin American country to legalize same-sex marriage and adoption for same-sex couples. Cubans approved its new civil code, which includes same-sex marriage and adoption for same-sex couples, this past Sunday.
34th country in the world. We gotta pump those numbers up.
Don't want to be bottom? Get on top now.
I heard speed has something to do with it.
Speed has everything to do with it.
Now this is news that makes me smile.
Meanwhile, in the sunny Italian peninsula,
back to the 1920s.
If only we got the good kind of 1920s Art Deco. Flappers. Everyone on cocaine.
In the new 20s, everyone's on drugs, but at least there's variety. As for flappers, we get TikTok dancers. As for art, robots do that now. Award-winning robots everywhere.
Good job, Cubans.
Miami Cubans seething.
The absolute worst kind of voters, stuck in the past and unable to be constructive into the future.
I don't know why Democrats even try to cater to them when they just end up voting Republican every time. Fuck 'em, we should just lift the embargo and let them cry about it. They'll get over it eventually.
Democrats cater to them because they're absolutely terrified of being called socialist for trying to do literally anything, which is rare for them to begin with. They try to distance themselves from communism, despite the fact that no educated person would ever consider Democrats socialist anyway, and Republicans will continue to call them socialist no matter what they do. Greater than no educated person. There's your problem. Morons vote in droves. I'm very happy to see this. Mariela Castro has been a vocal proponent of LGBTQ rights in Cuba for years. The entire queer community of Cuba should savor this victory against the bigotry of the Catholic Church.
It's been such a huge change in Cuba over the last couple decades. It's gone from executing gays to warm embrace. Good on Cuba for not whitewashing the sins of the past and making things right. Still an oppressive dictatorship overall though. They literally shot protesters last year in Havana. Oh, and voted for Russia in the UN last week in support of the invasion of Ukraine.
Cuba sadly is heavily reliant on Russia due to the blockade the US enforces on them. Still not a good thing to do, but if your alternative is for your population to suffer even more, it's a hard choice to make. Fuck over others or fuck over your own. I never heard of them executing gays though. When was this?
They were kept in work camps under Batista. Then Fidel took over in 1959 and played to the Catholics to unite power and kept them there. In the 1970s, Cuba decriminalized homosexuality. Fidel did an interview on his regrets of his 1960s. He said he was not prejudiced against gays, but, if anyone is responsible, it's me. I'm not going to place the blame on others. I'm not a fan of whataboutism. But the same period of Cuba persecuting gay people was the same period that the US was lobotomizing them.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.